It is the natural gas pipeline that runs from Manchin's home state of West Virginia to Southern Virginia, and it's been stalled by just a bunch of different regulatory hurdles, ongoing litigation for years and years. This is something that Manchin has really tried to get off the ground, and something that Biden has promised him for a while now. So it was included in the debt ceiling negotiation by McCarthy and Biden that they kind of reached at the 11th hour, and it is really making Democrats in Manchin's colleagues in the Senate pretty unhappy.
Welcome to Reporter's Notebook, where we talk to the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the stories breaking on their beats. I'm Jim Antle. I'm joined today by energy and environment reporter Breaane Deppisch. Breaane, you've written about an exodus, or at least a potential exodus, of insurers from the state of California. Talk a little bit about why this is happening and why it matters.
Yeah, sure. Actually, State Farm announced recently their decision to completely stop issuing new home insurance policies in the state. This is a pretty big deal. They are California's largest property insurer currently. I believe they insure something of like 22% of homes in the state. So this will certainly be, felt by property owners. But in doing so, they cited rising costs of construction, challenging reinsurance policies, as well as just the rise of catastrophic events like wildfires, atmospheric rivers, and flooding that California has faced this year. Really challenging insurance regulatory policies in the state that have deterred not only State Farm but other providers from doing business there as well.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying that California is not a good neighbor, and therefore State Farm is not there?
I guess not. Yeah, not anymore. The policy took effect almost immediately after they issued the decision, and it's likely to push a lot of consumers onto sort of the insurance of last resort provided under state law.
Mm-hmm. Discount, double check. So Joe Manchin usually throws Joe Biden a lifeline, but in a new key piece of legislation, must-pass legislation, there's a lot of haggling over a pipeline. Talk a little bit about that.
Yes, he threw him about a 300-mile natural gas pipeline. That's the Mountain Valley Pipeline, for those of you following along at home.
Sounds very rustic.
Yes, yeah. It is the natural gas pipeline that runs from Manchin's home state of West Virginia to Southern Virginia, and it's been stalled by just a bunch of different regulatory hurdles, ongoing litigation for years and years. This is something that Manchin has really tried to get off the ground, and something that Biden has promised him for a while now. So it was included in the debt ceiling negotiation by McCarthy and Biden that they kind of reached at the 11th hour, and it is really making Democrats in Manchin's colleagues in the Senate pretty unhappy.
Right, they're including a senator from neighboring Virginia, Senator Tim Kaine. There are some Democrats who are not very happy about this.
Yes, two senators from Virginia, Tim Kaine and Mark Warner, both said they were going to introduce an amendment that would strip the Mountain Valley Pipeline provision from the bill. This is basically a Hail Mary at this point. Schumer has said that he has no intention of sending the bill back to the House, which obviously they would have to do if they included the amendment. This is basically try as they might, Democrats are not likely to win at this point. Or I guess, Manchin is, but he's kind of the only one.
A Hail Manchin.
Hail Manchin, yes.
And so the debt ceiling, in the debt ceiling negotiations, another one of Manchin's favorite things, permitting reform, is also discussed as a possible compromise to get some people on board with the legislation.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think one of the most extraordinary parts of the text is that, which the bill actually, or the text devotes more language to the pipeline and things like that than it does to the actual debt ceiling resolution, which is interesting. But it also strips all of the litigation and expedites the permitting for the Mountain Valley Pipeline, and it moves the court jurisdiction from the Fourth Circuit in Virginia, which has really sided against the pipeline historically, to the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals. This is kind of a legal gray area, going against the court system. So how that plays, in the legal world kind of remains to be seen. It's a pretty stunning development.
working its way through the legislative pipeline.
It is, very much so.
Thank you, Breaane.
Thank you.
You can read Breaane and subscribe to our Daily on Energy newsletter at washingtonexaminer.com.